Greetings and welcome to episode 2 of the bodywork on the 911. Today we're going to be cutting out the last piece. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we just did some measurements. You can see here the points that we're doing, so it's kind of a little bit hard to explain, but we have this tram gauge. So we stick the points of the gauge in these holes on the chassis, and then we tighten them up, and then we measure it, and it's supposed to be like whatever plus or minus 1 or 2 millimeters, and it seems to be working well. But to get more accurate measurements, we're gonna have to take out the suspension, which we would have to do anyways, the front suspension that is. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. So you can see we got the bumper off just to make it easier to get it, some of the welds and whatnot. And we're going to be cutting out this suspension pan part here all the way from the front. There's some welds there, and then we got to be, or I rather, have to be very careful on the side here because some of these metal parts we do not have, and we need to preserve them. The ones that aren't rusted at least. So yeah, I just need to wire brush some areas. So I'm going back as far as there, drilling back that is, and then I guess we're gonna cut that out. And then, as I said, we're gonna have to wire brush all that, and up into that comes on the other side. It's actually a pinch weld, so it goes all the way through. So I'm just gonna drill all the way through on this. Gonna have to wire brush it first though, so yeah, we'll see how that works. Okay, I wire brushed those areas in here as well as on the front side, and then down there, and finally there's pinch welds all along over there. So I'm ready to start grinding and drilling. Okay, so as per heckin' usual, things did not go according to plan. We decided to take some more measurements, more so on the front. We were doing vertical measurements, so how far the pan goes, as well as other points from where it's sitting now to the ground. And I welded up this little tool here that has a piece of threaded rod on each end, and it moves up and down and attaches to the points so you can see if they're out or not. And unfortunately this was out quite a bit. So on the passenger side there, it's about, I think, 1.2 centimeters. It was 12 millimeters, so yeah, 1.2 centimeters down compared to that one. So we're having to take some other measurements. All measurements from here back are perfectly fine. Vertical and horizontal. It's just here where the horizontal ones are fine, but the vertical ones need some work. So we're working right now. We had to use a formula, and we're trying to figure out which side is the right height. So when it all goes back, it's going to be in the correct position. But yeah, we don't really know what happened. We think maybe there might have been some sort of front end incident. But, like, there's no twist in the frame or anything. It's just this strange measurement. And another thing we're doing is we're being more precise with our leveling, just checking to make sure it's completely level. Dad just picked up this level yesterday, and it's very, very sensitive. So it'll probably give us a good read when we measure the cross members, because we did actually level those all out. We had to shim this side up a bit. But yeah, I guess you guys can just see the amount of work that goes into this, and it's a total pain in the ass sometimes. But it's got to be done, or else we don't want to heck it up. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and measure and just check that and see what's what. I have yet another update on the pan process. I am taking measurements right now to build a jig. For people who aren't sure what that is, basically it's this frame of metal that sits on some of the suspension components, so where the cross member kind of would be, or up towards the front, and making sure that all the distances line up vertically and horizontally, and then the pan will get placed on that, and from there we can double check all the measurements, and it'll be sitting on that jig so that we can weld it up, and we're not going to have to be going back and forth trying to figure out which distance is which. So yeah, just taking measurements for this to build the jig, and we'll see how that goes. This process is probably going to take up most, if not all, of the video, so we'll just see where it goes. Okay kids, I didn't film the cutting process, but this is for the jig. So we have 2 longer pieces and 2 shorter pieces, and the longer pieces are gonna go from the suspension point there back to the cross member, and then they'll kind of all go into each other like a 90-degree angles. These are cut at 45-degree angles, so you take those and then it makes a 90-degree angle, and then these are just like extra supports. So I guess we're gonna start tack welding this into place, and then there's still gotta work out our vertical angles, or vertical points. So y'all can kind of see what it's gonna look like. We just got those couple lengths right there, and then the supports in the middle. So we're gonna start tack welding soon, and then we'll run a bead down. Okay, so I guess now is a good time to show you guys my welding setup. First off, we had to put the 220-volt box in order to run the welder. My dad had the permit, got a permit for that, and he did all the wiring himself, made the electrician guy who came and looked at it very happy. And then secondly, I'll be using this Pro Point welder, which does MIG, TIG, arc, and stick. And I'm doing MIG today, using 023 wire, and it should be good to go. We kind of dialed in the settings a little bit, but as I said, we're just going to be doing those couple corners there, and some of the supports, but just tacking them on for now. So yeah, let's get started on that. So I done had an issue with the MIG and the feeding, so I have switched to flux, and it is my first time doing flux. It's kind of similar to MIG, but like it just kind of makes ugly welds. There's nothing you can do, so yeah, I don't know. I was trying to make this look nice, I guess, but it doesn't have to look nice. So forgive me if my welds are kind of shite, but yeah, just we're doing that. So we just got this cross piece here set up. It wasn't at 90 degrees, so we needed to put that in. So we used our where did it go? We used our square right here, and squared it up. So now we're good to go to fab up these pieces, or weld up. Alright, so I tacked it for now. She don't look too pretty, but that's just because I guess it's not supposed to look pretty. So yeah. Another thing, these, we just got these in a couple days ago. These are up and down jacks, I guess you could say. So for leveling the car perfectly, these are kind of needed for that. So they got an adjustment thing here that you just spin, and they can go up and down to get the perfect level. It just kind of goes to show you that with a project like this, the tools that you start off with at the beginning of the project are most often not the tools that you'll have at the end. It's just one of the many times I've had that happen, so always got to be ready for that. I just thought I would show you guys what I mean when I say the pan originally is out quite a bit. So I used the accurate level, and it's pretty much perfect there. I had to shim it up on this side because our garage floor is slanted down that way a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to show you using the tool that I have, that I made, I guess, to show you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is measure the two outermost points of the suspension pan where the A-arm bolts into the front of it. So here and here. And using this special tool, I'm going to insert the round end into the hole and the flat end on the bar that's level, so we can get an accurate measurement. And I pre-adjusted this so it's going to slide, hopefully, right into the, yeah, there we go. And then we get it at 90 degrees, and there should be a little bit of tightness there. And my apologies, you can't see the bottom, but I'll show you what it looks like after. Oops, my level fell off. And then we move over here, and we can see what occurs. So we put this in here, and you can see that that's the bottom of, like, that's, it would have been hitting over there, and it's perfectly level. So that's a good 2 centimeters higher on that side, on the driver's side. So that indicates that there was some sort of accident, or gosh knows what happened, but it ain't good nevertheless. So we have to take that into account when we're putting the pan back. Okay, so the feet of the cross member are all done up. These will go into the cross member area, and these will go into the front right here where the A-arms would go. These really aren't the greatest welds. I apologize, but in my defense, I was not the one doing them. So yeah, these, I guess, are just tacked for now on the front. These are the last part. Those ones should be good to go from my understanding. But yeah, getting that in to figure out which side is the correct side, if it should be higher or lower. So then I can go ahead and finally drill out the spot welds, and I can take this pan out. So stay tuned. Okay, so I've just been informed that the jig has been made, and I can now proceed with the drilling. So I will start that now. So I drilled each of them out. It looks more like Swiss cheese now. And I started trying to pry stuff apart. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and make a cut in the middle using my angle grinder and kind of up here, just so it can get us some leverage, and I can kind of work it back and forth to get it out. So we'll try that. Okay, so I really apologize I did not show you the cutting process, but I just made a couple cuts there, and there's one there, and one there. So yeah, here it is. I'm just in the process of pulling off the more front portion right here. So I'm having to get my tapper and tap it out. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing this this panel here on the fender. It goes underneath and on the side. so that's probably on order right now. And then this lateral here is what it's called. That's intact, so you don't have to worry about that. Just the stuff under this and on the side, we're gonna have to remove that as well and replace it. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish this up and I'll show you what it looks like after. So I went ahead and cut out the rest of the pan. It is now lying in this pile on the ground. That's the driver's side, which is really rusty, and that's the passenger side, which is fine. And then the fender had to get taken off because, as we discovered, there was rust going more upwards into the fender panel. So we have the replacement piece right here, which will probably cut some of that off and put it on, but yeah, that's just an extra thing that we had to do. So what I've decided to do is just end the video here, and then we can resume when that piece is put back in or taken out, and I guess we can put the pieces together, and then yeah, just resume when the installation of the pan can be done, and then hopefully that'll be the last video on this particular series, and then we can move on to getting it ready to be on the road. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll probably have another video in 6 months, I don't know. Hopefully it's not that long, but stay tuned.